At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jar.
Then start the noise. So, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Focus on Liberia. I'm getting feedback somewhere. Somebody is giving me feedback here. Just hold on 1 minute. Let me correct that. All right, that is corrected. Well, welcome to Focus on Liberia. This is our Friday night debate. Today is day 3 of the National Elections Commission announcing the result from the general and presidential elections 2023. Lots and lots of things are happening in Liberia, and we want to talk about all of them, ranging from the new things happening. People are kind of saying all kinds of things. So we're going to debate all that. We're going to look at the NEC numbers versus the political parties' numbers. Are they aligning? We will take a look at the CPP press release and the LPP's concession speech. Also, UP and CDC victory claims, and there are some noteworthy legislative races and results or projected results that we're going to talk about. All kinds of things are happening, and we're going to debate. So, to do the debate, I have with me independent-minded Glendy Junior. Glendy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dennis. It's good to be here. Hello, everybody.
Thank you. Let me also welcome a We Are supporter, Josh We Are supporter, Elvis Morris. Welcome, Morris.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. John. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Let me welcome a Buckeye supporter, Mr. P. Morris Kroma, the perfect manager. Welcome, Morris.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you. It's always good to be here as well.
Thank you. Also, another Buckeye supporter is Comrade Joe Wilson. Mr. Wilson, welcome to the show.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure being here tonight.
And don't worry if we are over Buckeye tonight. Let me welcome Mr. Kalebo Gonglo. He is not affiliated. He's not here representing any political party, even though he is a brother of presidential aspirant, Councillor Tiawon Se Gonglo. Welcome, Mr. Gonglo.
Thank you, and I hope I'm happy that you made that very clear, because the views that I'm going to express here tonight are my political view about both the CDC and the Unity Party, and I do not represent any political party here.
We want to welcome all of our viewers from across the globe. We are waiting for Mr. J. Victor Nangbe, who is representing, or who is a member and supporter of the CPP. We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. Please do us a favor, share the show, invite someone, and let's get started. A lot of things are happening. Before I came on the show, there was a video that went around, someone saying, hey, there is a gentleman called Kai Fale, is in Monrovia, and they are about to cause chaos. I saw a video of the former General Botneke, Evangelist Joshua Milton Blai, saying that he's one of the targets of brought in to do all kinds of things. And there was another one from Prince Johnson, say in Nimba, while they were counting something somewhere, and people maybe came in to cause chaos. And now we are still waiting for Elections Commission. 25% of the results have been given, and we are still waiting. I want to briefly go around the room and give me one word to describe the state of the nation as of today. Let me start with Mr. Joe Wilson. Joe, one word to describe the state of the nation.
Uncertainty, but hopeful.
Glendy?
They're on pause.
Mr. Morris?
Anticipatory.
Excuse me?
Anticipatory, if that's a
Thank
word.
you. Mr. Kroman?
Tense.
Mr. Gonglo? You are muted, sir.
I think things are cool and calm.
The state of the nation is cool and calm. Alice, what's the state of the nation?
Tense.
Somebody use it. Find another word.
Oh, confused.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome all of you to Focus on Liberal Debate Night. If you are watching, please do us a favor. Use one word to tell us the state of the nation at this time. I say the state of the nation is waiting.
I'm aware that I use it in a big form. Anticipatory is waiting also.
Anxious.
Okay.
The state of the nation is anxious. So that's where I want us to start from. This is a Friday night debate, and we're still waiting for CPP candidate or CPP supporter. Now, with 25% of the NEC result out, we've been getting tally sheets. I want to start with Mr. P. Morris Kroman to talk about the NEC results, the NEC numbers, and the tally sheets. What's your take on the two? We're waiting for NEC. We have tally sheets. Are things matching up?
Yes, if you ask me, yes, they are matching up. But here's how I want to print this picture. And I want to just divorce myself from the politics a little bit and just do a quick assessment of the incompetence of NEC. Elections, it's a very, very emotional issue in any country because people take the political side, just like people take the side with their religious identity or their ethnic identity. That's how people take side in politics. So that tension is always brewing between these competing interests. Now, if you are the referee of that kind of contest, people on all sides have to believe and trust that you will deliver impartially. The National Election Commission somehow has dragged this process of announcing the results in a way that is creating more tension between all of the different political interests, particularly the UP and the CDC folks. Because somehow, I was just telling on another show just earlier today that in Nigeria, where there are 9 million registered voters, in 5 days, the people are able to give a full report of the election result. In Sierra Leone, there are over 5 million people that are registered to vote, and 3.6 million, sorry, and they're able to give the result within record time. In Ivory Coast, same thing. In 48 hours. In Ghana, same thing. In 48 hours, they're able to give a full report of the election's result. And here is it that in Liberia, with 2.4 million registered voters, I doubt if we'll get 1.8 million people to show up at the polls. I doubt it. That they cannot announce even 50% of the result. 3 days later, they cannot announce 50% of the result. Now that tension continues to grow, and people continue to form perception around what may happen or what may not happen, and that is creating a potential conflict in the country. Now, what they're announcing, yes, they are pretty much very close to what everybody, perception of the result is supposed to look like. But because of all of this tension, even on the legislative side or the senatorial side, is brewing tension in all of these different competitions.
Thank you. Evans, do you agree with Morris Kroman's assessment?
I agree to a certain extent, but I think the Unity Party was irresponsible by going out there and announcing themselves to be the victors. I think having over 5,000, tally sheets is almost impossible. How can you tally those How can you use those sheets to count your vote and say that you're the winner when most of the other places are not officially sending their sheets? So for me, I think the Unity Party added more fuel to the fire. The reality is people are anxious for the results, but constitutionally, NEC has 15 days. They're being slow but sure. And like Morris said, there's nothing untoward. The reality is the numbers matches with what the Unity Party people have so far. Nobody is coming to dispute to say you call this number for Boyko, but in fact we have a different number. Nothing like that. We knew that this election would be very close. There are some surprises when it comes to third and fourth place candidates, but we knew it was going to be very tight between we and Boyko. So nobody can just sit here and say they're cheating or they're trying to cheat when the numbers don't support that idea that the NEC is trying to cheat. Maybe they're logistically challenged, but the reality is so far so good in terms of numbers matching what the political parties have. I'll leave it there.
Mr. Gonglo, I want your response to that too, because of Morris is looking at population. I think he's ignoring other factors that may play in. What's your take?
Well, first to begin with, I think I will say this: Morris has to be very transparent in such a discussion. Let's look at the history of NEC. In 2005, how many days did it take? In 2011, how many days? In 2017, let's look at the history. Is NEC deviating from what NEC has always done? That's the first thing to begin with. You don't, not because you want certain outcome, you want it so fast. So you think NEC must maybe break away from that tradition. Like every say constitutional that NEC has 15 days. And sometimes people make this statement if you don't have an appreciation of what goes on at a data center. These things are checked. People are hired as contractors. When tally sheets come in, these things are scanned and they come in, people double check. And when they check, they have the total registered voter per center. And they go through and say, okay, these results, somebody giving maybe tally sheet from say Granular or maybe polling centers 1-1, whatever in Zerdru or in polling out, whatever in Granular. They say a total voting this place was 600. But then at the data center, the total number of registered voter is about 480. Okay? They say, no, something is wrong with this result. Such tally sheet is put aside. It's not even announced because we have to double check these things. And these things are done manually. They are not computerized because we're using paper system. We did computerized registration, but we reverted to paper system. Okay? In Nigeria, everything was digital. Okay? I don't know about Sierra Leone if it was digital, but it depends on how it has been done. So sometimes institutions find it hard to break away from tradition. That's first thing to begin with. If this has been like a tradition, there are people there telling the leaders, the new managers, that okay, this is a tradition. On this day we'll do it this way. On this day we'll do it that way, and that's how it's done. So the fact that you don't have concern with the numbers, that's a good thing. Okay, so let's keep it cool. Let's go. My disappointment, like ever said, is Unity Party declaring, which is illegal. It's against the regulations of the elections. No one should declare yourself winner. Unity Party is in violation right there. And one other shocking thing is Morris is right here saying one thing, but on so-called class reloader and Radio Kigadi, Spoon, what Unity Party agents are saying are totally different. Morris is talking like a peacemaker because this platform is about promoting peace and a very professional and refined platform. So Morris tune is different. But on Spoon and on Class Reloader, it's a total Morris, it's a different animal.
Morris, let me give you at least a minute to respond to that.
Thank you so much for reverting to me because I needed to respond to this. I don't know, Calebo sometimes act like he doesn't know me as a person. Sometimes he gets in this political mood and he forgets everything about. There are things that somebody will say about Calebo. I'll say no, I disagree. No matter what you say, I disagree with you. Caleb is unable to do that in political times because he wears this propaganda garment. He cannot take it off. I agree with you, Caleb, on the argument you make that we can look at the trend from historical trend from 2005, 2000. Yes, that's a legitimate argument to make. I agree with you. I give that to you. But and I also agree that you say that sometimes it's difficult for people to deviate from the culture. But for you to think somehow that because these things happen in the past, and so 15 days is the rule, let's go with the 15 days. Especially even if it's at the peril of the state, even if it affects the security of the state, you're claiming because it has 15 days deadline, let's continue to go on the 15 days deadline. But the other part is for you to say that I go on Class Reloaded and say something else, and come here and say something else. The Class Reloaded videos are on social media. Go back there, look at them, pick up anywhere where I'll say something different from what I say here. It's not in my personality, my man. No matter where I am, you'll see more disagreement with me or you people than I'll even do on this kind of platform. Because I'm not the kind of person that just kiss up to people and just follow them. I don't do stuff like that.
Thank you.
That's not my personality, Caleb. I'm sorry, it's not.
Thank you. Let me go to Mrs. Momba on the NEC numbers and the tally sheet. Mr. Wilson, please sit up. We want to see, kind of adjust the camera so that we can see you. Your name tag is kind of covering your face. Thank you. Alice, what's your take on these numbers? And by the way, before you continue, one of our audience viewers say the state of the nation is hopeless. We were talking about the state of the nation. Go ahead, Alice.
Well, so far, there's nothing that will actually cause alarm when it comes to tally sheets and the results we are getting. The only question that the NDC answered yesterday was the percentages, where other people had questions, and the percentages were wrong. They were going to do correction, but the votes were accurate. But the point is, not because the time frame given is 15 days, so the NEC should exhaust the 15 days. These elections are very, very crucial. And, I would expect the office to put in more time, more resources to expedite everything so that the anxiety that is in the nation will calm down. But this is not happening. Yesterday, I saw a video of people trying to run in red light because as the time stays, you get a whole lot of information that might not even be true. I think 2 people were fighting, and the other people said the other people, some warlike information they were getting. So the situation in the country is from hopeless, tense, and confused. Everybody is like, they don't know what's going to happen. So the NEC has to do more so that we will be able to get the idea, accurate knowledge about who is going to win or who is winning this election. Yesterday, somebody was leading, today another person leading. So we don't know right now where we are going. And United Party has the tally sheets, according to them. And based on those sheets, they think they've already won. And you have everybody reporting on Facebook because the NEC is slow. People on Facebook are more energized than the NEC supposed to give the actual report.
But Alice, don't you think that's sometimes
usually
don't you think that's sometimes that's the source of the problem? Who is actually causing this anxiety, this tension? Is it the political leaders or some pundits?
It is the Unity Party
that are doing this because
it's NEC.
Because they declare themselves.
It's NEC problem. It's not Unity Party. Inability to handle the elections in 5 days, in 6 days. So everybody
but this is how it has been, right? So NEC is not doing anything out of the ordinary, correct?
Well, but the stakes are different.
Okay.
Yeah, I
This
mean,
year
Caleb also.
election,
Next, let me say.
Hold on,
now you
boys.
got me
Comrade Joe has not spoken.
the
And Gandhi.
voter
All right.
turnout this year was higher. So you know the kind of interest that people have in this election. So in this case, people are supposed to expedite the work that they're supposed to do to be able to get the results.
But that does not increase the capacity of NEC or the money put into NEC. Let me show you a video of some NEC workers. Maybe that will give us a clearer picture.
NEC worker.
So you see that.
Joe Wilson, as to where we are, I mean, we saw the NEC workers. Could this be one of the problems? Because even though the anxiety, more vote, but this didn't add anything to the capacity of NEC, more resources, and the conditions within the country. So who really is causing this anxiety? Political parties, I would think. Mr. Wilson.
Listen to me, Dennis. We cannot overemphasize the incompetency NEC is exhibiting. Let us first establish that these elections, they are not a one-day event. There are processes that lead to the conducting of elections, right? There are logistical issues that you have to address, as you gear towards the elections. So what we are seeing is an exhibition of incompetence, that is just so disappointing, right? And I think NEC is causing the hype because remember, these are political times, and political parties, especially the losing sides, will always want to look for opportunity that they can exploit and create unnecessary tension in the country. So NEC is facilitating that process, and we think it is uncalled for, and we cannot allow NEC incompetence to degenerate the country into chaos and violence, something that we've suffered for more than 20 years, pretty close to 30 years. That
I mean, what is NEC doing that shows incompetence specifically?
Well, I mean, I'm surprised that you're asking what is NEC doing if you have been following the process. I mean, it's pretty much obvious, right? NEC is announcing. Caleb, you want to unmute yourself and make your point?
No, go ahead. You say you are surprised. I'm asking, so I'm waiting for your answer.
That's what I just said. If you've been following the process, NEC is taking a quite number of time to announce results in bits and pieces. We are just under 2 million registered voters, right? Now, in this digital age, you wouldn't expect NEC to take 15 days to announce results in on 2 million people. Listen to me. Here's the interesting part. Monserrate, where the headquarters of NEC is, where there is internet facility, there is the access to road and visibility, everything is so high. NEC is unable to announce as much results they can from Monserrate, but NEC has the capacity to announce as much results from Grand Cru.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can you see this? Can you see it? So NEC is telling us that there are more coming. NEC is telling us there are more.
This is so obvious.
Right. There are way less people in Grand Cru voting than the people in Monserrate, so it takes a longer time to count those votes.
No, there's a mistake in that whole process.
That's not what you're going to
now, this is just the condition.
Okay.
According to the election law,
in a complicated way.
Hold on now. Let Joe complete.
According to election law,
the reason you make people anxious is because you kind of challenge. Oh, how you are kind of mocking that people. I am not saying the incompetence. You have to show me. That's why you are here. So tell me, because what you have said so far is like, okay, why they counted Monserrate, Grand Cru before Monserrate? How does that show incompetence?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Is it one? The results, right? Even if you follow the proceeding of the announcement of results, you see a lot of discrepancy. Have you even seen the vote tally sheet? Have you even seen two individuals contesting for the presidency carry the same political party name, GDM, Alexander Wapo and Appleton? Did you notice that? Is that professionalism? Is that the best time for professionalism we want to
So that's
establish?
incompetence, some clerical error. Come on.
Hold on, you were
Because-
talking across the board, Morris.
KB.
We got
You call
Morris.
that clerical
I haven't said
error?
anything. I haven't said anything. What do you mean, Dennis?
No,
I
Morris.
think it's only me.
Morris.
Yeah,
Morris.
calling Elvis because you said Morris.
You call that
Elvis.
clerical error? Clerical error at this stage? This is not a similar thing when we can reflect in history. When James Fromoya announced results that should have been from CDC, according to him, announced for Unity Party. We all berated James Fromoya and considered to be incompetent to the point that James Fromoya was not renominated as Election Commission chairperson. But you are telling me because two individuals bearing the same political party names on the official tally sheet, and you are telling me that's not incompetent. No one captured that. That's okay with me.
Dennis, I hate to
That is
do this, but
acceptable.
I can't hold about to interrupt.
No, please don't interrupt.
Let's-
He has ended.
let's
No,
ask
hold on,
those-
Gongo. Hold on,
How many
Gongo.
days? The election
Gongo,
is
hold on,
3 days.
hold on.
3 days.
Let me welcome two members, person who's just joined. Victor, if you can sit up a little bit,
So here's the point. Here's the point I'm trying to make, and I keep getting interrupted, unfortunately. According to election laws, Dennis, according to election laws, at 6 p.m., all polling places in the country should close. When all polling places are closed, everyone should tally the votes before they leave the polling center. So, by statistics, all around the country, all polling centers, all political party representatives tally the votes at all precincts, every electoral district. Those votes have been tallied. The results are there. The results are there. It's just a matter of announcing these results. So, NEC is unable to, in 3 days' time, NEC is unable to announce at least 10 or 12% of the votes are tallied.
Thank you.
NEC, can I explain to us what is the key problem? And you tell me that's professionalism? That is not a definition of professionalism in my world.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. I'm hearing a lot of feedback. Yeah, where is that noise coming from? Let me welcome Mr. Mohammed Sharif, our colleague from Waplo Institute, all the way in River G, Kalipo, Kamweke. Welcome, Mohammed.
Dennis, thank you. It's good to be here.
Mohammed is FOL political analyst and independent, former member of the Student Integration Movement, University of Liberia. Let me also welcome a CPP National Campaign Advisor, Mr. J. Victor Nambe. Welcome, Victor.
Hey, it's good to be here.
Thank you. Glennie, let me come to you. We're talking about the tally sheets at one end and the NEC results, the numbers that they are putting out there. Well, what's your take?
So it's kind of funny because I think I also posted a question on Facebook asking people to describe NEC and their actions. And I want to conclude that it's high incompetence with what they're doing. So NEC, the workers or the employees at NEC, including Davietta Brown and her team, they live in Liberia. They live in Monrovia. How is it that they're not able, we understand that they have 15 days, but how is it that if you're saying that people can have access to all of the tally sheets at the close of the day, and you don't have rules and regulations on what they can do with the tally sheet, but then if they come out and say, and they see the way NEC is treading, and they decide to announce that based on what we have, we think we've won, then we're saying they're wrong. How are they wrong? What rules did they put in place? What is NEC saying? What did they say that they could use the tally sheets for? How can we even say that NEC is not incompetent when not all of the counties voted on the same day? How is that not incompetence? When some people didn't receive their ballots on time. You're saying election is supposed to be Tuesday, and people are receiving ballots on Tuesday evening or late Monday evening, and the voting could not take place on time. We said voting is supposed to start at maybe 7 a.m. and at 10 o'clock people had not even started to vote, and we're sitting here we're playing and saying, oh no, they're very competent. No, it's at the height of incompetence. This is not the first elections in Liberia. Let's be real. I mean, this is not joke. And these elections are not something that should have been taken for granted. We have an incumbent president running. So NEC should have put more effort into this. It is and this is not Daviera's Brown first time. And there are also people there. Like, for example, today, a sedition was dismissed because a week ago he was in a CDC rally, but he's one of the top people as NEC. And then you want to say to me that that's not incompetence? That's the height of incompetence. That they can't even vet their own employees to ensure that there were no partisan politics there at NEC. So how do you want the Boyka camp to trust them? How do you want Cummings to trust them? When we're on Facebook, we're seeing the ballot have errors. We're seeing tally sheets where you can see that people actually copy it over. They use carbon copy paper because the lines are not even correct. We're seeing people coming from the same party. And Evans Morris is sitting here. I understand he's a sedition, but this is Liberia we're talking about. And we need to be truthful to the core. How can you sit here and say, oh, it's an error? Really? So NEC hastily prepare a ballot that they did not proofread? Don't play with us, man. This is the height of incompetence. And I'm so disgusted by that NEC. Every one of them needs to be terminated.
And Glendy, how has this, what NEC has done, how has it been close or different from the previous NEC that we've seen so far?
So you will also understand when in 2017 with Dennis, with Dillon, Darius Dillon, and Thomas Falam, see how they were able to correct that situation within a matter of hours because the people were on top of them. Look at today. How is it that NEC is in Monrovia and cannot even give us 50% of the votes or the counts from Monrovia? But now today, they start with Monrovia, they escape Monrovia, they go to Grangie there. I mean, who are they kidding? If we know better, we must demand better. This is ridiculous. We cannot continue this on this trend.
Thank you. And I raised that question yesterday on my other show as to how are they determining which county? How they're doing that?
Thank you.
And yesterday we also pointed out an error on the website where NEC is calling 2023 by-elections. Say 2023 by-election results, and this is not by-election. So this was another error on the part of NEC that we called them to correct.
Calebo said that's professionalism.
Let me bring in Mr. J. Victor Nambi to comment on NEC, the tally sheets, and something I want.
There is an impromptu comment.
Let me, and I will come to you because I'm breaking out about this data, right? The data that is being received from on these tally sheets, and Calebo eats, sleep, and drink statistics. But if you get raw data and the data is not clean, the data is not normalized, and people are feeding all with this data, that's ground for trouble. Will you agree, Mr. Nambi? So let's look at the data sheets and look at NEC result. And the fact that the data that the information we are getting from the tally sheet could be, it's not clean. It's not normalized as the data people will say it. And now that's the one political parties are using to tell us they are winning or there's cheating or there's something of that sort. What's your view on that?
No, I absolutely agree. I mean, we are all for inspiring confidence in the process, the integrity of the process. But however, we do have some very serious concerns. I mean, all of our concerns have are embodied in our press release that we put out. There are some very legitimate concerns.
And we'll come to that press release. It's high on this agenda tonight.
Yes. I mean, there are some real serious errors that the Elections Commission and very avoidable errors. But yes, the whole system is really, really concerning to all of us. I mean, most of The points have already been pointed out by my previous speakers, including my sister Glennie. And again, this is not the lead commissioner's first time conducting, this election. So we're very concerned. I mean, we have expressed this in the paper that we put out. How is it that our people are telling us they voted down ballot, and yet our presidential candidate is getting nothing? And these candidates are almost on their way to winning their seats. So they're very serious concerns that we have about the conduct of the process.
Thank you. And if I may add there, who does this incompetence benefit? Let's say I just show you one, or the incompetence as Glendy has described. Who does that benefit? And Morris does not like that question. Victor.
Yes. Well, we hit to point fingers, but we think that whatever is happening was designed to play in favor of the sitting president. Unfortunately, the results right now are not bearing that out, but those are the concerns we have. We think that this process, we think there are some very serious attempts that have been
but we pointed out few, right? Using by-election
Yes.
instead of elections, and Joe
Exactly.
also pointed out few. How does that benefit the CDC?
Well, but those are not the only errors that we're talking about. I mean, you're talking about people going
so
out to
show me
vote.
how any of those errors benefit one particular party.
If you give me a second, I'll show you.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
I'll be patient.
We're talking about people going to vote, and the process is not set up yet. We think this is a serious attempt to discourage people from voting, and we all know when the turnout is high, it means the voters have something to say against the government that is in power. So that's just one example. There are several I could name.
Thank you.
But we think this whole process was being manipulated from the get-go.
Thank you. Mr. Sharif.
Yes.
What's your take on the NEC incompetence or alleged incompetence, the tally sheets? And I was recently concerned that these tally sheets, the data there is not clean. Why are we reporting and so much relying on it?
Yeah. So thank you, Dennis. It's a very good question. What you're seeing now is a reflection of the government itself for 6 years. So this is nothing new. It's just what I've talked about all along. So the government does have, George Weah does have interest in the outcome of the election. So he is not interested. He is the least interested in seeing a clean process that's going to produce, the outcome that he does not want, an undesirable outcome for George Weah. He doesn't want that. You just show a clip where you saw NEC workers walking the creek. Dennis, when I was in elementary school, there was kids who came from in villages.
Sharif, that clip, according to some people, is old clip. It's not. It's also. I can't prove that, but Morris is saying this is an old clip. Maybe you can speak to that.
Okay.
But those are NEC workers. So
these are NEC workers. The fact is that NEC says that there were some ballots that got wet. So it is true that the rainy season has affected in some ways the outcome of certain elections. So this is a fact. This has been made up by NEC that the downpour of rain has affected some ballots. And you ask the question, how does this benefit the administration? It does, because if you can't have people in the rural parts, if you can't have the majority of the Liberian people vote in this election, the more subdued the elections are, the better probably I would say is for the ruling, the ruling establishment, the president and his cronies. And so he is not interested in a broad.
Mr. Sharif, sorry to interrupt, but you still can show me, let's say the vote, the ballot or the rain took place in Sino. In my part of the country, they voted the next day. Are we saying that those voters were going to be voting for somebody else but
What
not
that?
President Weah? Is that the picture you're painting?
If I sit here and say that, that would be disingenuous. I'll be arguing like people like Elvis Morris and them. I won't talk like that. I talk with I talk with great deal of logic, and I respect everything that I say, and because people are watching, people are watching us. Part of what we do here is to educate. No, Dennis, that's not what I'm saying. But if you extrapolate that, if you apply that across
Dennis, you can't allow Comrade Sherry to say this on the platform without you interrupting. He said, if I talk like that, I'll be talking to people like Elvis.
Leave it, Mr. Gogler. Mohammed is the only educated man on the platform.
Of logic. He's directly saying Elvis does not talk with logic. And that's insulting. He can't talk to another panelist like that. Sherry is my friend. We'll go many years back. But you can't say so.
Dennis, I'll reclaim my.
Calabo, you have a point there, Mr. Sharif. That's a direct attack on Morris. So let's watch what we say. Go ahead.
Dennis, I'll reclaim my time. These are guys who, when they're not on the show, they sit in the background and they call me all sorts of names. Do I respond to them? Because I don't care if they have the thick skin that I have, including Kalepo Ganglo. They can come here so we can have a one-on-one debate, but that's not the point tonight. These guys are trying to be a distraction to the real question. The real question is they're supporting a regime. They're supporting a regime. Excuse me. They are supporting an administration now that is seeing probably the end of the road if they're not putting all of these hindrances into the way of the opposition. I still believe that this is a very close election. The margin is very, very small, and this is probably going to go into a second round. But who knows what this man is going to do? I will submit to you that if it is very, very close, this administration will find a way to pull ahead. And all of these things that are happening, we have to be concerned. If we can't have educated people come sit on here like they haven't seen any elections being rigged in Liberia. So I am concerned as a patriotic Liberian. I am concerned. I need a clean election. I need to see some level of credibility to the Liberian election because the Liberian state deserve that. The Liberian people deserve
Mr.
that.
Jab, permit me to respond, please.
And they deserve that.
Thank you. Thank you. I want us to move to something else, but Morris, I gave you like 30 seconds to respond.
Thank you. The very educated people don't make sweeping assumptions that the elections will be rigged and are so emphatic about the election being rigged that they double down on such a statement. We are all talking about the numbers, the tally sheets, if they match the tally sheets that the political parties have. And Morris and I think Mr. Wilson said that so far so good. So what evidence do you have that this government is trying to rig this election? Responsible, educated people don't talk like that. They come with evidence. They're evidence-based before they make any accusation, especially one so grave against this government that could cause war in our country. So when I called the show the last time and said what I said to you is because I think you're coming for somebody of your education and your intellect should have been more responsible and not make a statement that this government will only win this election by rigging it. But now you're admitting on this platform that it's going to be very close. So what's informing the rigging and the very close?
Thank you.
So I'll leave it there and I'll pass it back to you, Mr. John.
Thank you. Our next topic is on the CPP press release. CPP had a press release that was summarized that, hey, there's a red flag because at some polling centers where our people voted for us, we had 0. How come? This is a red flag. And somewhere it's up and down. They voted for us, but then we don't have that. Also, what was not in the letter, but has been said in some CPP circle is the Appleton factor, I would call it, or the Appleton phenomenon, that people are voting for him thinking Alex Gonti, who is the vice presidential candidate, they are taking him for Alex Cummings. And so they are taking our vote. So let me start with Mr. J. Victor Nambe, who is a CPP National Campaign Advisor. To first tell me, I mean, why that press release and it did not present any evidence. I thought having, specifying the polling station where XYZ voted and you are zero would have helped.
Absolutely. You're very right about that, Dennis. We have asked our people to particularize our concerns, and of course, they're working on that. But we had some very legitimate concerns, as you summarized. There are polling centers where, we had some very strong indications that our people went in and voted up and down the ballot, and yet the results are being announced, reflecting quite a number of votes captured by some of these candidates, and yet our principal is getting 0 or 2 or 4 in some of these places. So you can rest assured that we're working on that. As to the issue that you mentioned, the name recognition or the conflict, that is something that we're also taking note of. Unfortunately, I'm not very certain there's very much that can be done about that, but there is a fairly good chance as well that this guy's first thing, because I mean, you all have said it up to Tuesday evening. I hadn't heard Appleton being announced as a presidential candidate in this race. With all due respect to Mr. Appleton, I have no idea. No, we have no information about where he campaigned. I think we understand he may have participated on the debate. That's probably one of his biggest platforms ever during this process. And yet, this guy is looking
So you didn't do your opposition research then?
Well, I would absolutely agree with you on that. That is something that we probably could have flagged and found a way around it. I'm not sure exactly how, other than educating our people properly. But yet again, Dennis, we're all talking about the way the election was conducted. Where was the voters' education in this process? I mean, there are a lot of things that could have been
and who should be doing that?
The voters' education.
Yeah.
We the candidates had a responsibility as much as the elections commission had a responsibility to do that, and we did our part. But evidently, this part of it we didn't do well. But again, I believe the elections commission really failed on many fronts on actually conducting a free, credible, efficient electoral process.
Thank you. And Joe, I was taken aback and by the letter. And I hope, I don't know if the CPP will be withdrawing it since they have to make some correction. That the letter, I mean, it was just kind of open. It threw charges without evidence or attempting to prove anything. And the second thing is, hey, even though we taught our people to vote number 4, and they should be able to recognize Cummings' image, but they are telling us that, hey, Ellis Gonti is now the new Ellis Cummings. Aren't they embarrassed that they have not been able to teach their voters to recognize Mr. Cummings' picture when they see it? And that's number 4.
I'm sorry, Dennis. I'm sorry. Before he comes in, that was not one of the issues raised in our letter.
Yeah, no. I talk about the letter and then that one, which is like as trending on Facebook.
So I think one recommendation right here, Dennis, maybe for the sake of the viewing audience, you can just flash that letter on the screen, so that some people can glance over it. But even while you are doing that, I don't buy that. I don't buy that from CPP, right? Because it is, I don't know how to describe it, but let me make it very simple. Alexander Benedict Cummings has a presidential aspirant, which was a female. Appleton has a vice presidential aspirant, is a male. So if people were to go and vote, the CPP people know that Cummings' vice standard bearer is Charlene Bronski, a very beautiful young Liberian lady right? So you can't tell me you were mistaken.
You mean beautiful intellectually. Women don't like you to describe them like that.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you mean.
I'm trying to help you here because I
No.
Yeah, Dennis is right. Dennis is right, Comrade Joe. Just continue, please. Just continue, please.
Well, is there something on the show? Because I do listen to women say I am black and beautiful.
Go ahead.
Comrade Joe, let me tell you, I don't have a problem with you saying women are beautiful.
Okay, thank you. Maybe there's something on the show I don't know of. But
No. Let me tell you, because we don't describe men like that, right? So anytime you talk about women, women think that you are trying to objectify them.
Yeah, exactly. So they call it misogyny. The thing, if you
that's why. But go ahead.
That's not a topic, but I just don't agree with
let's move on.
I don't agree. But anyway, let me get to the point while we are here, right? So I think it's not a valid argument to some extent that people will mistake Appleton, for Alexander Benedict Cummings. I don't think so. But I also believe Gonti, right? I think it also falls on the part of the CPP in terms of their voters' education. So this is a responsibility every one of us should share, right? However, what I think we can try to identify is the pattern. If there is a data entry error, then we have to identify a pattern in the data and say, oh yes, this is an error. But if you want to use that mistaken identity case, well, I don't think that's a valid argument. And that's not something to hold on to, right? This is a shared responsibility. Our political parties, must take charge of. But the letters, I mean, the press release, I thought I saw an institution that tried to make a comeback, even after performing dismally beyond their own expectations. So it's all political. It's all political, right? So if you pull on the political microscope, you can see someone that trying to make a re-entry into the discourse. But it is a difficult thing because for some of us who have been into this process for quite a few times, we've been on this life, we know from the very day one, this is exactly where it would have ended, right? Dr. Famula would give a very good parable about a hunter who went to hunt and he saw the deer taking a huge speed, and instead of shooting this deer, he went down at the end of the hill at the river, and there his son couldn't understand. And by the time he got there, his son saw the dead deer. His son asked him, "Why didn't you shoot the deer?" He said, "Because the speed I saw this deer taking, I knew it would break its neck at the end of the hill." We saw this with Alexander Benedict Cummings. We knew that Cummings was going nowhere. The elections would have exposed the CPP. But I mean, it's a spill milk. The entire CPP right now is a spill milk. I'd like us to move forward.
Thank you. And Glennie, I want you to respond, but before that, let me put on the letter and I'll try to read that. The campaign committee to elect Alex B. Cummings, president of Liberia, is alarmed by the reported numbers the CPP presidential ticket is said to have received so far. While we are still assessing the result at this point, it is important that we flag as major issue of concern the clear pattern that is emerging across the country. From all across the country, partisans and supporters of the collaborating political parties are informing us of troubling concern that places where they voted, including in large numbers, are reporting ridiculously low numbers for the CPP presidential candidate. This is also true where CPP down ballot candidates are projected to win.
But the question, Mr. Jha, is, do their tally sheet reflect the votes that's coming in, or is it contrary to the tally sheets that they have from the polling station?
They didn't say, and that's why I was talking about evidence if they could present that. Glendy, what do you think? What do you make of the letter and then this and the Appleton phenomenon?
So I like the response that Nambwe gave, because to some degree it showed some form of ownership of their mishap. I also think that the letter was done in a haste and prematurely, because number one, we'll go back to tally sheets. if they had observers there and they had their tally sheets there, and if they noticed that when they produced those results, they had tally sheets to counteract that, that should have been the number one evidence in that letter to show to the public. Attach those tally sheets based on the numbers from NEC. I'm pretty sure the way United Party has become a very robust party, if such a thing would have happened, just like how United Party had a press conference, I can trust that they would have had a press conference. They would have done a letter or whatever it was, and they would have had some form of evidence. Because then you're saying, who were the observers at these centers for CPP? Who were watching? Did they have copies of the tally sheets? If you go to an area and it said District 5, and you have your tally sheets, and it's showing 50, and NEC comes and say you have 0, how come they couldn't counteract it? So it's so unfair. It's almost like what we're seeing, and I want to go back to tally sheets again, is some of the tally sheets we're not seeing that is being attributed to the hype in Appleton is almost like when you look at them, it's a copy. It's a carbon copy. So when you, even where Appleton name is, one of the tally sheets, I think I sent it to you, Dennis, above his name, there's a 0 in the title at the end. How did a 0 get there? It means that they copy. You look at the lines, the horizontal lines, they're not even symmetrical. So it's like, how is it that we're seeing these things and we're not saying nothing about it? So why, even at the first conference that NEC did, CPP should have immediately put up a release, have a press conference, show the public the tally sheets, and say this is what is happening. As far as the Appleton case is, I would hope that the history that Liberian history does not remember him as a spoiler. I would hope that he has some form of moral aptitude in him to not be used to on the negative side of history for Liberia. I would hope that, because it would be unfortunate for him. Number one, when we're and when his name first came up and I heard about his name, I watched the debate in Banga, Bonkante. I took my time and I watched the debate, and I can say that is the only place I saw him. The only place. I know him very well from Cathedral because I'm a product of Cathedral High School. I graduated a year before him. So you're saying now you're an educated young man. You want to be on the right side of history. You done campaign. No one knows that you had a campaign, and then we just see your name pop up and see that you're a presidential candidate, and we think that this just is luck for him. And he knows that this is not luck. There's more to what's happening. This is almost like this was planned. And like somebody said today, it's almost like it was a referendum against Mr. Cummings. And I think NEC has it is incumbent upon NEC to do an investigation into these things, because it doesn't look good for Liberia. Yes, somebody will come out the winner, but it still has a reflection on our country and us having free and fair elections. This is wrong.
Totally. So just to be sure, you're saying that NEC or the CDC planted that guy and gave him votes, you know.
Evans, don't take away my job.
Sorry, Mr. John. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So I want to blend it because two things I'm hearing is nobody knows Appleton. Number two, he did not run campaign,
which is not true.
And that he is planted. He was planted by someone so as to impact Mr. Cummings.
Dennis, I'm pretty sure you know me very well. I don't shy away. I don't shy away from my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm coming. For the record, his vice president, Mr. Ellis Gunty, was right here on Focus on Liberia, being interviewed by Priscilla. So I can say that actually the Appleton team ran campaign.
So no, we're talking about the presidential candidates. We're not going to go to the VP, Dennis. You're not going to do that. We're talking about the leader on the team. Where show us an interview that was conducted prior to the elections. Show us where Appleton campaigned for becoming president of Liberia. Show it to us. I'm not talking about the fact that
people interview on local radio stations.
I'm not talking about that.
People interview on local radio
I want to see
stations.
where the head of the ticket was interviewed.
Where
he ran campaign.
No, I don't have that.
I want to provide that information.
I don't think I'm going to be a
spectator. I did watch.
This election matters.
I watched
Mr. Appleton. More than 30 minutes now.
I watched Mr. Appleton in the presidential debate that was hosted in Monrovia.
I watched.
Yeah, so Mr. Appleton was there. Mr. Appleton debated, and that was broadcasted across the country. So that was a form of campaigning, right? So
and I mentioned it here, and Dennis, I mentioned it. I said that was
the you said only in Bon County you saw him.
When I was Bon County and Monrovia, I know I watched an interview.
Thank you, Glennie. I got your point,
and that is where I saw him.
Thank you.
So I think that was a form of campaigning.
I know. I mean, campaign. Let me go to Gonglo. Is crying, Mr. Gonglo. let's
how are you now? So you jumping on me today?
I just talked to Joe, right? Since two of you are UP.
Everything you told Joe, I mean, my time suspended.
No, not suspended. But let me get to Gonglo, and then we come to you before Alex. Gonglo, what do you think of the CPP letter and the Appleton factor?
First, here is my reaction. The CPP letter is nothing but a grandstanding here. It's a political letter. It's just like the Unity Party held press conference in 2020 after the by-elections and listed 17 infractions of the election, but filed 0 complaint to the local election magistrate in Lofa. That's exactly what the CPP did. The election got regulations and procedures. In fact, there are times set within which time frame which you must file your complaint to NEC if you have. So part of the challenge is if you're going to claim any foul play or any wrong thing done, either at the canteen or whatever, you must be specific on the polling station number and the event, describe what happened. So because they don't have those files, so they just issue a political letter. That's all they did. The same thing Unity Party did in 2020. After that, they listed all the violations without pointing anything and it amounted to 0. It's nothing but grandstanding. And all they do now, waste voter time, put the country on pause unnecessarily. Okay? That's the same thing. It's no different. So, but anyway, they were all in CPP once together. So I'm not surprised. Maybe they copy from each other. But the other thing, the thing about Ellis, I disagree with Glennie that, talking about president, not vice president. In our part of the world and anywhere in the world, you choose a running mate based on other reason. There was a reason why Joe Boaga decided to go for a corrupt Jeremiah Kun in Nimba along with Prince Johnson. There was a reason. There is a reason why Councilor Gonglo went for Dr. Yakpaglo in Bon. There are reasons why you do that. So it's consequential. It's not just talking about vice, talking about president.
I hope you know where we respond, right?
Appleton was chosen because Appleton is, Gonti was chosen because Gonti is a Nimba name. In fact, it's one of the popular names in Nimba that both Gio and Mano use, Gonti. Okay? Just mean blind man, and both Mano and Gio use that name. Okay? So there could be a reason why he chose that. He chose him. Okay? So it's not just like, we're talking about the vice. And the other thing with the CPP concern is, look at the result from a single polling station. They will give you the total vote cast. They will give you the valid vote. They will give you the invalid vote. They will give you all other denominations of the ballot. Okay? You can take 10%. Voting is a legal process. You have a clear instruction on where to mark the ballot and how to mark the ballot. You can have 100% voting here. If they don't vote, if they don't mark the ballot properly, that can be invalid vote. I'm not saying, it's certain that you can have 100% come to vote for one candidate. It's also possible anyway, but it's very low. That probability is low. That will all begin to make the same error. And
Thank you.
So, I mean, those are possibilities. So, I think we should not jump on Appleton here and start to even talk about Appleton phenomenon, Appleton effect. I think we are amplifying because how many percentage of the vote has been, the preliminary results? I think it's even less than 20%. No, okay, I think it's less than 20% nationally, but in Montserrat, I think it's about 25%. In Olo County, 30%, and what have you. So let us not beat on neck yet. Let's hold on because this is a process. As more vote come in, Gonti might be maybe on number 19. You can tell.
Right.
It's just like Dr. Cotto in 205, in 2005. When the initial results came, Dr. Cotto went up there because he got more votes initially in Nimba. But as they went to Olo County and Olo vote came in, he lost. So this Appleton effect, the press, social media should not amplify and give and create unnecessary narrative around that will cause confusion.
Dennis, I think we have to bring Mr. Kaleboya to order. We can't allow him to just make a baseless accusation against the person of Mr. Jeremiah Kuhn. It is unfortunate we're not responsible. We're not responsible for the political frustration they encounter in Nima County.
Hold on, let me go to Evans.
No, we have to correct him.
We get it, Joe. Let me get my point across.
You have your time.
I'm not the one who says he's corrupt. Prince Johnson said he's corrupt.
You have nothing. That is a baseless accusation.
Going back to Evans,
no. I want to respond to Mr. Sharif. It's my time.
But you answered the question
Morris.
about the CPP thing, right?
I didn't answer the question. I didn't answer the question. This is my time to answer, please. And I'll be very short.
Okay.
Look, I think the CPP logic is flawed. And the reason their logic is flawed, they're saying that since the people voted on a down ballot for their candidate, it should have correlated with their vote for the president. And that's not always the truth. You can see in certain places in this country where, Republican might win, Donald Trump might win that area, but it's a historically blue, Democratic area. So maybe your down ballot candidate appealed more to the people than you did to them as a presidential candidate. So it doesn't always correlate where if somebody votes for CDC in the senatorial race, that means they're going to vote for President Weah. We've seen it in places like Maryland where they voted, prominent people out of the CDC, and President Weah is winning those places heavily. So it doesn't always correlate. That's why I think their logic is flawed. And Cummings I think his numbers will come maybe from his strongholds. We don't really know where his strongholds are in Montserrat. We know that he's reasonably popular, but we don't know where his base is. So maybe when the vote starts to come from those places, his numbers will go up. It doesn't mean that he's going to finish, the position that he's in now. He could come in fourth, he could come in third, but it's still too early, like Mr. Gongla said, for us to think that he's going to finish at, the percentage that he has right now. But I think people vote based on likability, and that's one of Cummings' challenge. He can have candidates who are perhaps even more likable than himself, so people vote for them. So that's my take on it. I'll pass it to you, Mr. John.
Thank you, Morris. Because you are complaining, but it should be Sharif. Go ahead, Morris.
I mean, you want to my people. You want to go to Sharif?
No. Go ahead. And Glenny, I have the tally sheet that you will speak to it later on.
Yeah. So the thing that I wanted to say is that again, this Appleton situation certainly rests on the shoulders of the incompetence of the NDC. I think Brother Sharif said it rightly, that the NDC is a reflection of the establishment, the current government, because here they did not create voters' education. They did not show the voters what the sample ballot looked like. Nowhere in the country they did any of that. So people are assuming that Dennis, I don't know if you're speaking to me, but
no, I'm shocked. Why the political parties didn't call for that? Because last 2017, I was in the country. I saw sample ballots with these.
That's correct. That's correct.
What happened this time?
United Party complaints.
So this is a demonstration, and United Party did complain about it. They did complain. Actually, part of all of the process of trying to put pressure on the NEC was part of that process to say, well, you gotta give a chance, show what the sample ballot look like, so we can also inform our people on how they should go about with this voting process. Maybe if they are produced the sample ballot, we would have picked up some of the errors on this and said, no, this thing, you got GDM up here, you got GDM way down here. You got this other person here. You see what I'm saying? But because the NEC, and clearly, this is not an emotional talk. This is just to show how incompetent these people are. Look at how they're announcing the numbers. They are not the one tabulating, analyzing nothing. Just give you a physical number to say, read these numbers. And you see some of them still struggling to call the numbers. It's pathetic. This is what is called minimalism in our country. We continue to settle for minimalism. And every time we settle for minimalism, it shows to the rest of the world that Liberia is not a serious place to do business. Unless we bring our best people forward, we'll continue to be exposed to these kinds of embarrassment. And then you have educated people sit in the West, sit in America, and try to justify why these people are doing the job. From George Weah all the way down to the NEC, all of them have demonstrated complete incompetence. But on the credible part to kind of, try to attack Jeremiah Kuhn, I think it's coming out of anger and frustration because of the results that he's getting from Nima County. Clearly, I can see that's where it's coming from, but it's okay. I mean, you're not going to have everybody to be in the same boat with you. Every time you're winning, somebody will always be there trying to hang on you to bring you down. It's the crab mentality in Liberia. I think that would be my only explanation I would give.
Mr. Sharif.
Yeah. So, if you're asking me about the letter, there are no specifics in that letter from the CPP. Louis Brown did issue that, but look, what we've said on this show all along is that what the Liberian people have said, and look, don't come at me now if you're CPP, because I'm just a messenger here. Mr. Cummings, we've heard all along he has no base. Someone said, where is the base? And so that has been an issue that has dogged Mr. Cummings since he returned to Liberia to run for president. And so, a political neophyte, someone who is an unknown, Appleton, beat Mr. Cummings. I mean, this is serious, Dennis. So now where does Mr. Cummings go from here is a bigger question that Mr. Cummings' campaign have to contend with instead of issuing this letter. Is he going to run in 6 years? Now he's been crushed, at least, in the early numbers that we've seen. This is devastating. So he has not gotten a return on his investment. Keep in mind, Mr. Cummings has invested tremendously in the Liberian political process. And, if this is what he's getting for his bucks, I think that there needs to be a serious reckoning in the Cummings' campaign. And so this is where they are. And that statement is not informed. At this time, the team should get together and see what concessions to make in terms of who they're looking at in the second round. If they go to second round, I would advise the Cummings teams, the Cummings team, to throw their weight around Mr. Boycott. I think that's something that they need to look into seriously. And Dennis, I will conjecture that is what's going to happen when they get to the second round, because I've maintained that this thing is very, very close. It's going to flip back and forth.
There's no second round. Sorry, there's no second round. I'm sorry to give.
Mr. Sharif, don't you think it's premature to say that Cummings lost to Appleton when it's only 25% of the vote counted?
I just said the early numbers. What the early numbers are indicating is that this is not a good return on his investment, at least from the early numbers. Maybe he's going to come back up. Maybe this thing is going to turn around. And your question is correct. You see, that's what Glendy is saying. I agree with her. What are we doing in Liberia in 2023 that the National Elections Commission is not able to do this thing in 3 days, in 4 days? So way back in 1985, this is how they used to announce these results. Like, people will wait forever, and then you get a result that is not desirable to the Liberian people. Anybody can then manipulate the process. Why can't we even move forward? So we haven't moved forward. You have the commission come in. Morris just said it. You have a commission coming, commissioners come in. They're struggling to read numbers. And this is something that is very serious. That also speaks to the Liberian, the Liberian society as it is now. Everything is in the doldrums. Our educational system, and so on and so forth. And so this is where we are.
Thank you.
I should say this is where we're at.
Thank you. Let me play a short clip from the Appleton campaign
on the day of elections.
And you political celebrity.
So I was talking to a Liberian psychologist and say, I mean, what happened? So let's agree, Appleton is not as popular as these numbers are showing. If that's what we're going to establish, what's responsible for this? And there are some theories that people threw around. One is because his VP is Alex, and so people who intended to vote for Alex Cummings voted for Edward Wade Appleton. Number two is because of positioning. His position is at the top. And so there are some people who go in there, they don't want to be better, and they just pick the first one. There's no voter education. And I'm surprised that there's no sample ballots that were sent around for people to, I mean, how can you go into an election with those things? And Mr. Sharif, we had I think last year, and I said, someone is calling you in his backyard to play soccer. He said, I'm going to provide the referees. I'm going to provide the referees. Don't come with any substitute. Come in my fence, and you are still going there to play. There were a lot of things that people really should have called for in our football days. Banjik. So why people going into election with these kind of things? And
what way you used to play, Mr. Jack?
Dennis used to bounce.
I'm a striker. I
okay. All right.
I was the highest scorer on Black Devils in Bannersville.
Okay.
And
the team near long game you give up.
I formed an honors 14 team in Bannersville that was on its way to 4th division when basketball took place.
I hear you.
Wow.
I get to Bannersville and they call me Coach.
I hear you.
You play for what, 1990?
What? Where were you?
Anyway. What?
Man, come on now. 1990, I'm already hustling in Freeport in Monrovia. The message.
All right. So now with all these things happening, and we still going to election thinking that you're going to win. Let us not forget, there were 2 times that the NEC called these political parties to, I forgot the actual meaning, but it was all related to election, and they wouldn't go. The NEC chair went over news and said, this is not right. You have to come. So we explained these things, and they couldn't go. They were campaigning. There were debates called, and the parties couldn't go. They were campaigning. So sometimes we hold the party responsible as well.
May I remind you, Dennis, that there were several attempts made to call out the irregularities that were plaguing the process. If you remember, the CPP took the Elections Commission to court. What did the Supreme Court do? They tossed the case out. So I understand you. I guess you are implying that more should have been done. And yes, more probably could have been done. So, and I sit here and everybody's piling on, I get it. Victory has several, relatives. Right now, the CPP, with the current votes, doesn't seem to be winning, and I get it. But we have indicated that we are assessing the results as they come in. And the press release that was issued is by no means our final comment on the process. So I just wanted to remind all of us that should we have expected more than we're doing now? Absolutely, because the indications that were coming back to us were very robust, and we were very confident that we're going to do well. And so we're reassessing the process to see what happened. And in due course, hopefully, we will reveal or we'll take the blame and do better the next time if we do participate.
The LPP and Councillor Tiawan Gonglo conceded, and they gave a beautiful speech, right? Glendy, what you make of
I
the
think you're going to
concession
ask me so I
statement?
can make my last comment and then
Oh, you want to
leave.
go now?
Yeah, I gotta go.
And you want to come before? I mean, it won't look good.
That's okay. That's my brother. That's my brother.
No, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I gave it to you. I swear I gave it to you. Go ahead. You got it.
Go ahead, Dennis. What's your question?
The Gonglo concession. What you make of it, and most of us were expecting Councillor Gonglo and Mr. Cummings to do better than they're doing now. What do you think is responsible for that, and what you make of the Gonglo's concession?
I think Mr. Gonglo is a smart man. Councillor Gonglo, I think he's very smart. I think he understood. I think he understands what his position is currently. And no one knows how they perform except that individual. And so why would he even waste his time to say, let's wait until more votes are counted? So I think him coming out and saying that, taking a bow, I think it was very respectful of him to do that to Liberia and to his character. So I applaud Councillor Gonglo for doing that. It's like, if you already see what your performance is from probably Nima, and he's no ordinary person. This is a well-learned, very smart lawyer who knows. And it also says that he was probably in this for the right reasons. So why hang around when you already know that you're not going anywhere? So I think I respect him for doing that. And I wish other people, we still have probably 18 people still there, still hanging there for what? Just get out. There's no point.
But getting out prematurely doesn't take away a vote. Your votes will still be counted.
Which is fine, but you already know that when the votes are counted, because this also speaks to you knowing the kind of campaign that you've run. Councillor Gonglo has an idea of where this thing is heading, probably knows that it may be a runoff between Wea and Pueka. So why hang on? Why not come out and have the opportunity of a possible runoff where one of those two candidates will come to you and say, support us? Why hang in a race? That's the smartest thing to have done.
Thank you,
Glendy. Get out of it.
Thank you. And Maurice, I'm coming to you, Maurice, with a different question. That's the UP versus CPP. I would call it kind of standoff. Prior to elections, there were, scrimmages. Like everybody having this, I call it the John Garang mentality. Now, after election, both claiming victory. In fact, Unity Party is talking about assembling at the NEC, right? You think Unity Party is really taking the right step here? And also, we've seen that people who are supporting Unity Party are kind of saying, like Blai, Evangelist Blai saying, I've heard that people are coming to kill me, support Unity Party. Prince John is raising similar alarms in Nimba. Is Unity Party actually kind of engaging in fear mongering?
Did you say UP and CPP? Or you meant CDC? CDC, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, so those are legitimate concerns.
I raise legitimate concern.
Okay. Yeah, they're legitimate concern. I think, I said it during the opening of the show that, when these kinds of elections happen, everybody, especially the top two parties, are connected deeply to the results. So if you look in Unity Party War Room, where I have privilege of some of the data that are there.
Can you share some of the data?
I
cannot share the data with you. Okay. But I can say emphatically that 17 of the 20 political parties, 18 matter of fact of the 20 political parties, did not get up to 10% of the total vote cast. As a result, it puts the leading opposition party, which is UP, in a commanding lead. I can tell you some of the counties that we've won and some of the counties that we've lost. Grand Bassa, for example, CDC won in Grand Bassa County. It's no one there. Yeah. But Moserado County, I can say emphatically also that Unity Party won in Moserado County. I can say that.
What does winning Moserado County mean?
So we'll leave it and we'll watch the NEC process go day by day. They can take it. They can suck into the entire 15 days that they have. It's totally fine as long as they don't veer off the data that they have access to. Because what the law says is that the top 3 political parties get copies of the final tally sheet, and all of the political party leaders have to representatives have to sign. And those tally sheets, if you put them together, we can tell you that each, in some areas that, clearly Unity Party won, some of them Unity Party did not win. But also,
did you guys win by first round?
I want you to speak to this whole stand up.
So the idea that CDC and Unity Party have taken to social media to make these pronouncements, it is the same thing that happened in 2017. I wonder why you didn't ask the question to say, well, this same thing happened in 2017. Just like you raised the issue about National Election Commission taking 15 days.
You didn't like it. I said this time.
You said what?
You didn't like it when I raised it.
Yeah, but now that you asked the Unity Party question, you asked the question about Joseph Boakai and Unity Party. You don't want to raise that question about the same process of people taking winning position. Calabo said, "Oh, Unity Party breaking the law because they say they're winning the election." Where the Unity Party say they won the election? There's nowhere Unity Party had a press conference to say we have won the election. They say we have
on Spoon Network.
Where the Unity Party say they won the election?
On Spoon Network.
Where Unity Party had a press conference to say
even on this network, people were saying that United Party will win by 54%. By the way things are going, this is going to be a first round, and we were all calling them to be cautious.
When someone said that Unity Party will win by this percent, that is not Unity Party saying that they won the election. They are making projections.
If some pundit
you know how you've been in America long enough to see on CNN how CNN analysts can sit on the show and tell you, say, we can make this reasonable assumption.
Those are projections.
They are projections. There's nothing wrong with somebody saying I can comfortably project that this will happen. Last week I was on this show and I was projecting that Alexander Cummings will not get 250,000 of the vote. Right on this show, Mr. Nangwe was here, Dennis Jar was here, my man was here. I put money on it. I put $1,000 on. You call on the show and say, "Oh my man, you distributed money today, right?" You remember that?
That was a straw man argument with Morris because it's easy to win that bet. Cummings will not get 250,000 votes.
So Morris, speak to what Unity Party do. They are calling for men to gather at NEC headquarters. That look like a
no, Dennis. Nobody called people together at NEC headquarters. No one.
Where they say they should gather?
SKD Sports Complex.
Yeah, SKD.
Nobody said go to NEC headquarters on 9th Street. When last year in abroad, Dennis?
Long time.
Okay.
What's the point of it, Morris? What's the point?
I mean, what are they doing at SKD to do what?
Right.
So all of us as Liberians have equal rights to election nearing process. We have an obligation to protect the votes that people have casted. People went to the polls 4 o'clock in the morning.
I get that point.
Yeah, but you hear me? Let me answer the question. You're cutting me off now. What I'm going to say for you to get the point?
I was going to say? You are emphasizing the importance of casting vote. We get it. Okay. What are you doing at SKD?
So
at this time where people are the country is tense.
There you go. So the state has demonstrated.
So why is Molu and McGill allowed to go to SKD?
There you go. I'm going to come to that, Glendy. The state has demonstrated considerable amount of incompetence. If we sit and allow the state to manage this process, we will see the country being plunged into chaos. And because we want to avoid the chaos, we say, okay, we'll not allow these people to come and just manipulate this process some kind of way before it degenerate into some kind of serious conflict. Let's go and all of us try to protect this thing as much as we can. So when McGill and Moba Molu have access to the general data of people ballot, then let's see them go inside there. Let's use our video cameras to put them on the record so that we can be able to have redress. It's not go and fight anybody. SKD is a public space. Anybody can go there and stand there. You don't have to go inside the place, but you can stay and see movement going up and down. That freedom of movement.
Seditions and UP in the same space that could cause chaos. That could be the starting point of violence.
Also, you must be selective of who goes there and who come out. Seditions can go and come out, but the other people can go and come out.
Thank you.
Is that what you say, Elvis?
Morris, there was a time I think around Vamoma, right? These two people came face to face. We saw what happened.
That's
we
right.
saw also on the Japanese highway, and I hate to call that. I still want to be old school on Somalia Drive. We saw what happened with ARCO and
That's correct.
CDC.
Yes. Yeah.
So now wouldn't that be like a kind of scenario where these two people, who everyone claiming to be winning,
But
meeting
then
face to face at SKD?
the point that I'm making here generally is that the state, which includes the state security, is supposed to guarantee the rights of all people, including ACOP. Yeah, so including ACOP, including Unity Party, including people that are against the government. The state is supposed to be able to provide that rights to everybody. And if we've seen evidence of what happened on the Japanese freeway, and we see what happened in Foya, now all of us now that are against the establishment start to have doubt in our head whether these people have the capacity to actually protect our rights. And if they can't protect our rights, as simple as a democratic process, then we also have an obligation to ensure that those rights, especially people that stood in line for 4, 6 hours and 7 hours.
Morris, do you have any proof that Unity Party has been disenfranchised?
Elvis, you keep cutting everybody off. You got to give people a chance to speak, oh man. Nobody cuts you off. Just give me a chance.
I think you're preaching too long now, man.
Yeah, you
need to ask me a question, and I'm answering the question.
Right. I still don't get the point of SKD. You are going to SKD to protect something.
Yes.
What is that?
To incite violence.
Incite violence? How are you going to incite violence to SKD now?
Yeah, that's the whole intent.
All right. Let me bring up Alex in the conversation. UP is going to SKD to, according to Morris, protect the integrity of the vote that have been cast. And I'm paraphrasing. Alex, do you buy that? Yes, you've frozen there. Mr. Sharif, do you buy it?
Yeah, I think that if any time that they should be allowed to exercise their rights, their right to assembly, their rights to free speech, that is guaranteed under the Liberian Constitution. So you cannot deny them those rights. And so if it's fair for all of us, in the electioneering process to suspect. It's fair, especially in the Liberian state, where it's easy for you to suspect foul play because the society is erected on very crooked grounds. I should say the governmental structure that we have now. So if the opposition is suspecting something or whatever it is, they should be able to express that. And so one of the ways they can manifest that is to gather and talk to their supporters. So that's perfectly correct in my view. One of the things that I wanted to go back to, two things real quickly. Mr. Nagwa said everybody is piling on now the CPP. Dennis, if you remember, it wasn't just today that we've been analyzing these issues on focus on Liberia. We've been analyzing these issues for at least the past couple of years, where things were trending. As far as the CPP, we've always said that the problem there is that many people were saying that Mr. Cummings doesn't have a base and all of these things that he was struggling with, and it manifests in this election. The last thing I want to say on this issue of the of the numbers is that on the last show that I was on, I said that I didn't say it was going to be 53 or 60%. It was some other different speaker that probably said that. But what I said was that the opposition now looks like they have edged. They have a small edge. They've edged ahead, and the initial results reflected that. And when it's all said and done, you're going to see now that the opposition is going to be slightly ahead. This is going to go back and forth. It's going to go back and forth. And so at the end of the day, though, the opposition stands a chance now because this is a big surprise for George Weah. He did not expect this because throughout the period, in the closing hours, in the closing minutes and days of this campaign, George Weah did not take Boakai seriously. He was dancing. Dennis, the president was dancing, was singing around. So he didn't take the election seriously. He didn't take himself seriously. And so the CPP, I'm sorry, not the CPP, but the Unity Party had a game, and they've given a massive surprise now to the ruling establishment. This is something that's going to bear out when it's all said and done.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Nambi, if I want to be the Mr. Nambi, what's your take on the SKD Unity Party gathering at the SKD? At the beginning, we all described the state of the nation.
Well, we have always maintained that the UP is fond of grandstanding. They have done a press conference, I believe, and they could very well do another press conference and address these issues, right? We all remember what happens when you bring out people in this type of environment right now. People are charged. People went to elections, they're very excited, they're charged. There is a very likelihood of unruly behavior. Somebody's child, most likely, unfortunately, is going to get hurt or probably get killed. And we don't understand the need for assembling at the SKD complex when a simple press conference can do. That's what I got to say about that.
Thank you.
True.
Dennis, can I comment on this?
Yes, please.
I think, no, I mean,
after you will be Joe.
This is a scare tactic by the Unity Party. And I think we should just call a spade here. It's a scare tactic. You have your, according to Morris and the folks on Spoon and other networks supported by the Unity Party, they have their title sheets. In fact, they claim that they won first round. So all you need to do is wait and pursue a legal process if you feel dissatisfied. Like Darius DeLong took the internet when they were demanding FRR. He just went to grandstand. 2 days later, they hire a lawyer to go and file a complaint, mandamus or whatever against NEC at Supreme Court. Supreme Court looked in the case and said, NEC has done nothing wrong. But the other NEC, NEC to release whatever was requested to political parties. Okay? So do the same thing, because election is not going to be won by demonstrating. It's not going to be won at SKD. It's already after the fact. It's a moot issue. People have voted. By demonstrating does not restore any number to you or does not give you any new number. Keep your title sheet that you claim you have, and when the final results are announced, pursue to the very neck, because that's a procedure. You must file a complaint to the Board of Commissioners, and they look into it. If they decide against you, then you go to Supreme Court. That's the procedure for grievances, you want to address your grievance, election grievance. That's a procedure. And they know it. Not that they don't know it, because they are the former ruling party. They constituted NEC that even under James Fomoyan gave CDC result to Unity Party in 2011. The evidence is there. Okay? I mean, let's face it. All the Unity Party is claiming is crying because they know what they, under their leadership too, NEC under their leadership was doing at NEC. They know that. They know it. And that's the reason. Nothing else. You see, if you go to the village, and the village here got witchcraft, afraid of all of witchcraft.
Oh, no, which is right. That's true. They were exposed to each other.
Yes, that's all. They know what they've been doing at night. They know it.
Thank you, Joe. Let me get your response. We want to bring in our callers.
I think, Mr. Kerebo, I'm not sure how we can help you in this process, but you'll be fine. You will heal. You will recover. So, yes, this is election. I'm sorry it went the way it went. The Liberian people knew exactly what they wanted. So, what I'm hearing is that people are trying to disenfranchise members of the Unity Party, wherein the Constitution provides freedom of assembly. People have the right to assemble anytime, anywhere. That is a constitutional right.
Expediency.
what they're not everything that is. I mean, sometimes when things are legal, it doesn't mean they're expedient. What can be expedient doesn't mean it's legal. So we got to get that straightened up. But here's the point. What people are not communicating is that what would be the cost of violence? That if people think they are peaceful and they assemble peacefully to monitor a process
near the Tally Center,
monitor the process, protect their votes, just monitoring the process, what would provoke violence?
How many people does it take to monitor that process?
All interested librarians have the right to go and wait outside and monitor the SKD post.
You don't see a repeat of FOIA?
Great answer. Great answer.
Say that again. I didn't get the last question you were asking.
You don't think that would be a repeat of FOIA?
Why would it be?
Oh,
because anytime these people come together, we have tension.
Let me answer the question. If you're afraid for the repeat of FOIA, then I think you should be cautioning seditions to be peaceful.
Thank you.
That's the point. That is what you should be saying.
Sedition meant violence.
We know where the violence came from.
Are you kidding me?
We know what.
No, during this process, during this election process.
We all sit on the show.
You're kidding me.
We all sit on the show. We kept pointing out some of the incompetencies from NEC. So, Kenabo and Morris are telling us that we should sit back and wait for something to happen, and then we go to the court, wherein it could have been prevented, wherein our presence could have shed light on things that we're seeing.
But Joe, is there any evidence of any disenfranchisement of any United Parties so far?
I want to go to our phone line.
Disenfranchisement, I mean, it can mean so many things. You got to be
politically.
Thank you. I want us to stop there. I want to bring in our callers.
It's unfair that I interrupted me. You caught me short.
Interrupting. So
just for 5 seconds.
No, Evans had to wait on the line. People have been waiting on the line for so long.
I know, right?
Evans got interrupted me and delaying people.
Yeah. So let me bring in our first caller here. That's Mr. Tedman. Go ahead, Mr. Tedman.
Hey, all right. Thank you, Dennis. I want to say thanks to your panelists. It's a great show tonight. I listened to everyone who was very patient for 2 hours listening to you guys. Everybody put up the good points for the first time. I would agree with Mr. Sharif today. Mr. Sharif, thank you for those points. But I got a few things, Dennis. First thing I want to bring out here, Mr. Gonglo conceding at this time, it doesn't put any bearing on any of his presidential candidates to come out and concede. So it is his decision that he made with his political party. I agree with him for him to step out of the race at this time. Maybe he feels not going anywhere, where that's his decision, but it doesn't put any bearing on any of those candidates to concede because Ms. Gladys was saying, the other guys got to get out of the race, where they did not have to get out of the race. I mean,
there's no more race. The race is over.
Yeah, all right. They don't have to concede at this time, not because Mr. Gongo conceded, so they too should concede. So that's the point I want to make there.
Thank you.
Everybody here is beating on NFC. See,
NEC.
In this country, NEC, I'm sorry. Yeah, in this country, election was conducted in this country, and we know that there were places in the United States here, polling centers were open late. Party didn't get there on time. People were in a long queue and had to, instead of having several different queues, they had one queue, and people have to be in line for hours and hours to vote. These things happen. We're right here. We saw them. So why criticize the election commission in Liberia? These are things that happen. I mean, our elections that we saw is the first time in the history of Liberia to have a lot of people to come out to vote. I know there are some challenges the election commission faced, but those are things that's okay. We can improve on them. We can bring those things up, and then we improve on them next time. But we got to be patient. Let us wait.
Thank you.
And my last point, Dennis, please, one minute, my last point, a few seconds. Just a few days ago, Mr. Formoya, the former election commission, He was standing there right there with the UP campaign manager and claiming that they had won elections. They had a press conference. They were claiming that they won the election. The former election commissioner, Mr. Fournier, you were right there. It's on YouTube. You can check it out.
Yeah.
UP was declaring that they win. So you see, these are things we're talking about. We gotta be patient. We gotta wait.
Thank you.
All of us to wait. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you. Say all of us to wait. Flomo Livingstone, you're live. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, great show, Mr. John. For me, I don't know. I mean, sometimes obsession is not good. Which Calibu Gongo always have a United Party and GMB. I understand your brother didn't make it that far. It's not I'm playing guitar and singing some stuff. That's good. That's a good therapy for him. Look, what I'm trying to say is, look, the whole election is what is his name? The CDC are the one doing all this. There's a video done in chat. I have it. Like Mobile Molo and so other CDC went to SKD today. I mean, last night the whole line went off. I don't know why they want to go do that. So United Party guys had to go there and say, we always sleep here today to see what's going on. And they went to United Party war room to attack. But thank God they were not able to take any data. They went to Nima County again. They went there to the election commission headquarters there in Nima County. They try to destroy things there. My question is, why is CDC doing it if they know they're winning? If you know you are winning, why are you trying to bring some conflict? And like you're playing a soccer game and you know you're losing and you don't want the game to end, you just bring confusion so you can see the game draw. But we know the party will win this game.
Thank you.
And one of the things the NEC is doing, Mr. Jah, we need to talk about it, is why in Sano County, your county, they were late in doing election, but the results are coming from there. And county like Grand Cape Mall, one result haven't been called from there.
Thank you.
Why is that? Why you need results from other county, but you forget about Grand Cape Mall County, there's no result. And all that most of that right next to you, no result coming from there. But all about where Grand Crew and Sano, that I don't know, the road condition is bad, but all of a sudden, all the results coming from there, from the southeast.
But is outrightly misleading our audience. Go to that website. More than 25% of the result from Maserati has been announced. It's there. Why is he misleading the public?
Thank you. Let's hope that all of the results will come in, no matter what is first, second, or third.
It's 3 days since the elections. 3 days. Let's check it.
Thank you.
Today is it's 3 days.
No, that is not true. I watched the last video on the report. They call Grand G there.
That's fine. Let's make sure all of them will come.
Since the election, 3 days.
No, they should call the Western counties first, so Waga can seem to be in a big league. But
I get your point.
But he makes a point.
To the next.
He has a resounding point. Yeah.
What difference will it make?
But Dennis, I think he's making a great point.
What tell me?
He's never managed any election before.
It doesn't matter.
They want to have an idea of an insurmountable.
Let me move to the next caller. Please don't. Flomo, go ahead and your thoughts. We got your point. They should call.
No, my point is, Dennis, you're saying what difference does it make? You need to call at least every county. You cannot leave one county out. That's now it can show concern.
Thank you.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Thank you.
All right?
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Let me take the next caller here. It's a wireless caller, 609 area code. Your name and where you're calling from. Hello.
Yeah, my name is Ethan Peabody, and I'm calling from Lexington, PA.
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Peabody.
Yes, and Mr. John, I just wanted to make a quick contribution.
Okay.
It is kind of a difficult on our country, and when we look back and see what happened, it continue. It's like a continuing process. NEC had its law and everything have been started by all political parties. Every political party, I guess, should be competent enough to have representative or pool watchers to every station. every polling station. UP, on the other hand, did exactly, and to my concern, had the opportunity to obtain all the almost 90% of the results. Now the game here playing is like what NEC is about to do. We don't know what is going on. Is it wrong for CDC claiming almost 6 to 7 counties that they won? Is it wrong for UP coming out and claiming other counties they won? All these four should be on NEC.
Thank you.
These are irregulation we are talking about. And Mr. Jai, it's important that let you step up the games. And work on it. It's very important. Liberians are suffering. It's very important.
I agree.
We are going through a lot.
I agree.
And I thank you for giving me a time on your show. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And there is a Elijah Washington said, Dennis, do you only take your friends' calls on the show? My call has never been taken on the show despite being on the hold for a few minutes. I don't know where you are. And Conscious say, waiting on my call to go through. If you are in the queue, you will be called up. Let me bring on Mr. Arthur Wiado.
Hey, thank you, Jai. Thank you, the panelists. I just want to make this quick contribution in terms of the kind of emotions that are going on both sides of the political parties, those that are winning, that are claiming that they are winning, most especially the CDC and the UP. I mean, it is happening for people who know well to miscalculate and cannot even follow a simple process at an early stage when the NEC began to announce results. 6% of the Liberian people will say 1 million votes, and you just claim it victory. That is not fair at all in this particular process. It's not fair.
Thank you.
I noticed pre elections, I've heard people saying that we're going to be protecting our votes. I can protect my credit card because it's right in my possession. Are you part of those who are monitoring? Are you going to the center there to protect those you get from people here and there? That is a sign of confusion. That is a sign of disturbance. But I just want to give it up to the Liberian people.
Thank you
for being so patient and
thank
the manner in which
you, Mr. Doe. We have 2 minute callers.
And let's see the process going. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have 2 minute callers. Callers, please. 1 minute is more than enough. Aliyu Kamara.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. 1 minute, please.
You don't have to emphasize the 1 minute. I know how many minutes other people took. I know how to do it. See, my problem though, in as much I appreciate the freedom of expression, the right for everyone to express themselves, what I do have problems with is when people don't know, but yet they want to participate, it becomes a little appalling. Look, Dennis, the National Election Commission made it clear through the Election Commission, the chairperson of the Election Commission. She said that the political parties already have their tally sheets. She admitted that in her Tuesday edition of whatever she was doing, press conference. She mentioned that. Now that simply implied to you that she is aware, she is letting you know that the political parties already know where they stand. We projected that Nathaniel McGee was going to win McGee. Have anybody opposed to that? We projected that Musa Belete will win District 7. Has anybody objected to that?
You have Caleb Gogolo here, a frustrated guy who really thought he would have destroyed the Unity Party. It has not achieved anything. The Unity Party, besides the Southeast, Sino, and some part of the places where the problem was, the Unity Party has almost 97% of its tally sheet. Those tally sheets were signed by NEC. Those tally sheets were signed by all of the political party represented in the hall. How long would it take to do a simple arithmetic to come up and say, we know we've won? Projection is normal, it's legal, there's nothing wrong with it.
Thank you.
This thing.
Thank you, Ali. So thank you. Michael Patmo, you're next.
I don't even know why you're giving Ali, man, all that time.
You're taking away your 1 minute.
He get 99% talent sheet, but he never. I don't understand that whole logic. If you get a talent sheet, hold it in your hand and watch next. Even if next day 30 days, they will get to the end of the company, and you will get what you want. I just don't understand that whole process. Anyway, I continue to see Unity Party officials, people that we look up to, continue to encourage people to protect the vote. These are normal citizens. They are not abreast with all of the rules and the processes of electioning. These people don't know those things. That's why you train poll watchers. That's why you have certain lawyers that take care of these things. Encouraging crowds of people to go just to watch a process is a recipe for chaos. And you know that two people don't like each other. They can't stay in the same space. I heard some of a tape recording this tonight. Regular citizens were outside of one of NEC, arrangement offices, complaining that Molba Molu were there. You there, but Molba Molu might not be there. Now, what kind of sense does that make? How about all of you go home and let the professionals handle it? But what is most remarkable, whether it was the violence in ELBA or 72nd or even FOIA, what I have noticed, and it's extremely worrisome, is the silence of Joseph Boyka. Every time these things happen, there is a silence from Joseph Boyka. This man needs to wake up. He needs to speak. He needs to exercise leadership, bring calm into the situation, and start to at least pretend presidential. We don't want the same thing. And this silence, when there is chaos and when there is anxiety, is the same thing. Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. At some time, he said he will only talk when people listen or something along this line. Let me bring in Augustus Andrews. Caller.
Hello, Bossman.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes. My communication is based on two things. Number one, people are using, especially the platform, to be able to bring false information to the general public, and which is extremely wrong. I listened to the show today, and I hear some people referring to that Chememolu was at the party at the SKD. Chememolu issued a statement on his page that all those things are just mere propaganda. So it is being very clear that Unity Party is using platforms like the Spoon network to spread out very dangerous propaganda that could create a huge chaos in our country. For example, one of the issues I really wanted to talk about is the misleading information that, how you call it, President, we are sending a helicopter to Grand Juda County to take all the crime rebel leaders there to bring them to Morgan to start killing Unity Party people there. That was one of the information that was spewed on Spoon Network, and even continue with that by bringing PYJ on a platform today to continue with information like that. So if the Unity Party claim that they are winning, and how you call it, a rebel leader came from Grand Juda County, why are they not afraid to be an SKD since they say they got a rebel leader? But my point over here is that, it is very clear. You can tell based on the action of certain people, you can tell that everything they are doing, that propaganda. Just our brother from the Unity Party just admitted that they have lost Grand Bassa County.
Thank you.
Which is the propaganda machine testify that they have won Grand Bassa County. As you can see, the issue of misinformation, we have to be very careful and protect our country, because at the end of the day, this election will go. Liberia will still remain.
Thank you, Andrews. Thank you.
Good point. Good point.
Let me bring on Maurice Gassama.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. Let me start with Kelego. Kelego, you started on this very show and you make a projection that Unity Party can never win this election. On the very show. How you arrive at that projection is up to you. So everybody making their own projection, and you having issue with it. You serving as a commission, election, this and that, wherever, Zambia, Uganda, it doesn't make any difference. When these poll watchers go to the election, the NEC give them the pool. NEC give them the tally. They tally, they take it back to the party headquarters. So the people have it. So it's not issue when the people say they have the tally. There's no denial to that, because it's the same NEC that gave these zero pool washers the zero tally to bring it back to the party headquarters. If the Gongo team will not have a pool washer everywhere, that's up to you. So election, people can make projection everywhere, even in America. NEC only there to announce, to give you official result, but anybody can make projection. And somebody called why is it that the announcing result from the southeastern region? It makes sense, because why? The way the NEC handle the result, it runs, a lot of things runs through people's mind, and they have the right to make such projection of why is it, why not Cape Town, why not in Monserrado, And somebody said, Baka have not spoken. It's not true. Baka have spoken. Baka have called on people to become. Even the Unity Party have called on the partisans to become. You're not even blaming President Weah, who said the sitting president. I've not seen anything, but yeah, he's going to Baka. But look, this election, we know what is happening. We know where we stand. Unity Party know where they stand. So there's nothing wrong with them coming up with what they know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you. Our last caller here, wireless caller 302 area code. Oh, yeah. 302 area code, your name and where you calling from. Caller, your name and where you calling from. 302 area code 7524. All right, Glenda, you were smiling a lot during the calls. What's your response?
I wanted to go back because I think Samuel
You're smiling at Unity Party Tari again.
Hold on, Glenda. The caller is here now. Caller, your name and where you calling from. Caller, go ahead. Turn off what you are listening to and speak to us, please. All right, go ahead, Glendy.
So, Mr. Gongo, I was smiling because you seem to be a very popular man. It's almost like every caller tonight continues to hit at you. But one of the things that's interesting to me, and I want to go back to, is one of the callers, Samuel, I think it's Livingstone. It's interesting. He made an interesting point. The fact that the people in Sasstown or Sino were not able to do their voting until Wednesday, but the people in Cape Mount were able to complete voting in Tuesday. We can't get the results, but we're able to get all of the results in Sino, partly, even more results in Sino.
You say all of the results. That's not
more
true.
results, not all. Some of the results. We got more results from Sino than from Cape Mount. So that's an interesting point. How is that possible? How were they able to get that? What was the communication? How did they transfer it? We all saw how they said ballots were wet and how it was late and they weren't going to be able to vote on Tuesday. They were going to do it Wednesday. How is it now today, Friday? We're getting all these results from those regions, but right around Monrovia and Grand Bassa and Cape Ma and Bomi were not able to get as much of a number as we're getting from those areas.
So Glennie, what's the theory there? What is the theory behind this?
It's concerning.
Why? What's the concern?
My concern is why are we not able to get more results from Montserrado?
Why? And what do you think is the reason?
I don't know.
But Glennie, you're raising a concern. What's the problem with it?
There is a problem with it for me, because if we're saying I would think that the context of events will be different. If these people voted last, why would their results come up first? I mean, just common logic.
What's the criteria of the NAC to read?
So that NAC is supposed to answer that. For me, a citizen or an ordinary person in Liberia, if Montserrado people, everybody voted in Montserrado, and you have all of the tallies and all of the numbers of Montserrado, why are we not hearing more votes from Montserrado? Why are we leaving Montserrado and jumping to other counties?
Again, my question is, what difference will it make? Will it make?
For me, it's my point here, Dennis, is not. It may not make any logical sense. It may not make any point. It's concerning for, like how Samuel mentioned it, Samuel Livingston, is why is it that we're jumping over these counties and we're now going? Is it because the first set of numbers we got was not favorable to President Weah? And so we want to make sure that we show numbers that's coming from a stronghold? That's something that could be a possibility. That the numbers that came up on Wednesday, were not favorable to President Weah.
How is that going to sway the result of the election?
It's not. Of course, it's not going to sway it, but it's also going to put some focus and give him a little rise, because then people will not. What it does is President Weah is high up, so then people can say, "Oh, he's probably doing well," and they wouldn't be as quiet as they have been. If you think today, for example, let's be realistic, Dennis. Take for example,
Cape Ma is the only county that hasn't registered any vote.
If the numbers today, I love the fact that I'm the only woman here, and I love the fact that I can hear myself when I speak, and the men will listen. But listen to this, then it's important that if the Elections Commission had come out today, and those numbers would have shown that VB Boyka or any other camp was higher than Weah, it would have been a terrible thing for President Weah. Don't forget, NEC works in the government of President Weah. You cannot continue to come and bash him in numbers and not show that he has some stronghold. That's my opinion. And I don't think it's wrong to think that.
Thank you. I don't agree with it, though. Morris.
Well, that's your problem.
I know. Morris.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. John. Look, I think Ms. Glennie, I don't know how to call you Miss or Mistress, but I think okay, I'll call you Bob Glendy. I think former Livingston was saying that there's only one county that hasn't been counted. The votes coming from the southeast, you're looking at 36%, 28% of the total vote that was casted. So some of the places that didn't vote, their vote hasn't been tallied yet because they haven't voted, or the vote, they voted today or whatever. So it's not the entirety of the vote that's been counted. I don't know how the NEC work. Mr. Gongo could probably, enlighten us on how they tally the votes and who and which counties they decide, to announce first. But like Morris and Mr. Joel Wilson here tonight, they've all said there's been no discrepancy from the tally sheet and what NEC has been reporting. The only thing is they're anxious that NEC should announce the result quick. They've said it, unless Joe can say that they have a tally sheet that says
what they're seeing now, what they're seeing, they haven't clear cut it. What they're seeing now, they're seeing it's in line. They didn't say that.
Yeah, Joe is here. If there's any tally sheet that doesn't match up, let him say it and let him show the proof. So far, we've seen nothing of the sort.
Thank you. We are winding this down in the next 5 minutes, but let me hear from Joe, Mohammed, and then Victor.
But you call Mr. Gonglo.
You will be the last. You will be the last because he's the election expert.
It does that to me. Anyway, I'd like to respond after Joe. Let him go.
Go ahead, Joe.
Now we give the time to Caleb, then I'll respond. Go ahead.
Caleb will not do it. Caleb will not do it. You gotta talk.
Mohammed or Victor, any one of you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dennis. What exactly am I responding to?
The question, and then Glennie raised a point, right? Why are we getting vote from Sino? Because my people in Dodokan and Vatican, Duke Free, all the people didn't vote. So, and Glennie is making it to sound like they got the entire sign up, but it's not, doesn't make a difference to you.
But these are the contradictions that we're pointing out there. This is organized chaos, right?
Thank you.
If you even listen to the announcements, they don't even make an effort to announce the results alphabetically. They keep jumping from place to place. Now,
Are they supposed to do
I
alphabetical
think
order? What's the? And I asked the question
because the
before.
process is to sow confusion and make it difficult to follow. If you don't if you don't understand that, then that's the point we're making here.
No, like the one that what I was told is, if they are able to get the results ready, they announce it, right?
But
So
then, how is it, Dennis? You're from the southeast. I am from the southeast. We show the roads that go to the southeast here over and over. How is it easier to get to the southeast and get the results so quickly that you can go to Kima and get the results?
So that means that the result they are reading, they were kind of predetermined. Is that what you are?
It could be predetermined, absolutely.
All right, then say
no, Dennis, we can't allow this to
Yeah,
go.
let a unity party say that. No, it's not true.
Do that.
They could be predetermined, or they could just say that they have all the
Glennie,
results.
I asked you over and over. You said you didn't know. So let Victor talk, because I want people to tell me why you think announcing sign up before Cape Mount is a problem.
And not only that, some of the places in Cape Mount in Sino, they're not even start on election day on October 10th.
In Dripo, they didn't start on election day.
Exactly. How is it that the results from there can be so readily available as compared to places that were accessible, that started earlier than some of these places?
Thank you.
It was points to one fact that some of these reports were already sitting somewhere ready to be announced.
Good man. So those tally sheets that they are reading from these political parties headquarters, especially Unity Party, what you say to that, right? Are they different from what NEC is reporting? Because these same people projected, for instance, that community visa laws, that TIJ laws in Sino and all that, right? So where they getting it from?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have no idea.
All right, Mohammed, maybe you have some ideas.
Yeah, so I don't want to be as conclusive in saying that the results are coming from the southeast because of X reason, Y reason. We've in our own analysis have predicted that George Weah was going to win all the southeastern, most, if not all, of the southeastern counties. Because keep in mind, the opposition abandoned the southeast, and they didn't just abandon the southeast. George Weah's administration made it very impossible to go out there to the southeast. So they have maybe Gonglo is going to disagree with this again, but the ruling establishment had all of the resources to be able to have access to all of the counties. So the opposition was disadvantaged in going to certain places, and that's by design. So the opposition did not put up much fight in the southeast. So if you see that George Weah wins Sino County, for example, Maryland County, that is not a surprise to me. It'll be interesting to see the final numbers. I'm interested in that, as comparing that with the FRR. So that is what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for whether Boakai is going to win Grand Jita, because that's not going to happen. Whether Boakai is going to win or Sino County, that's not going to happen. We're not even talking about Appleton or Cummins in this situation, because they're not really significant now as we go forward. So I'm not trying to cast any sort of suspicion in terms of what they're trying to do. However, it is very curious that all of a sudden you cannot count places like Grand Cape Mount County, but you're going to count Sino County. Maybe my suspicion is for the last 2 days, George Weah has had a barrage of bad news. You could watch Jefferson Kweji and some of the associates come out there on the first day. It's almost like they were giving a farewell address to the nation. But I was cautioning them to wait because they are going to deliver that farewell address at some point. Maybe in 10 days from now, they will all be delivering that address. So, right now, they're spirited again. They've gotten new lease on life with, these barrage of results from the Southeast. But I can tell you that, if Weah continues this and Montserrado is as competitive, which is going to happen, it's still close. That's the projection. This is still close, but the opposition has edged ahead. So, that's the way I look at this.
Mr. Sherry, before you end, you clearly see that Mr. Boakai did not go to the Southeast. I think 4 days to election, he sent his VP and other party leaders. So clearly, we have said on the show and argue with UP supporters who said we don't need the Southeast. In fact, the Southeasterners are bad people. We had Doe, we had Tubman, now we are Weah.
Yeah.
I interview UP people, including Judge Lobo, right here, over and over. And in fact, they said we have no business there. In fact, Nimba County can swallow all 5 counties.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So these things, and I interviewed these people and we raised this concern.
Yeah.
So now you were saying the government made the Southeast impossible for opposition to go there.
Right.
But they could go there. Are you
They should have gone.
Mr. Gongo visited 73 times.
They should have gone to. They should have gone. See, the thing about politics is you cannot abandon any portion of the country. You cannot. It's not monolithic. These areas. For example, if you take Grand Jita is very diverse. You can if Boakai went into Zwedru, which is a very big and diverse city, you could peel off. I said this, and someone on the show was trying to correct me on this. This is 2 years ago, and I go back to it. Zwedru, where I grew up, is very diverse, and so you can go there and start to peel off, some of the votes. I understand this is not by county, this is not by electoral college and so on and so forth, but you can get a significant enough vote to erode George Weah's popularity in places like Zwedru, in places like Harper, in places like Greenville. And so when you do that and come into your stronghold like Lofa County and Nimba County, then now, because you have to be able to erode your opponent's numbers in their strongholds. And then when you get to your stronghold, you pile up your numbers. And this is how you beat its strong candidate, George Weah. Keep in mind, he's still strong. That's by everything that we're talking about now. He's still in business, and so we're not writing his obituary, his political obituary yet. But what we're saying is that
you just did. You said in 10 days they will be saying the goodbyes. You just did that.
But I'm saying I'm not tonight. I'm not ready to write his political obituary tonight. So in 10 days. His people would be delivering their final farewell addresses to the nation, perhaps. But if we have to go to the second round, then that's going to be put off. But when it's all said and done, I think that this administration, back is towards the wall now. There's no way that they come out of this.
Thank you, Mr. Gonglo. Are you still waiting for Joe?
I'm the expert on elections, so it's Joe time.
So go ahead, Mr. Gonglo. You and Joe start playing this cat and mouse game. We are about to close.
I can go ahead. Don't just cut me off.
No, but you can speak indefinitely. 2 minutes, please.
So first, let's set some record straight here. I listen to Glenda and I listen to Mr. Nangi. The way the election process works, I think last night we explained this. At the data center is where the number is verified and announced. I just checked net website. I think the only county that there has been no report so far is Kemal. They have 0% reported. It does not mean that information is not at the data center. It's just that it has to be verified. It has to be verified before they do it. If you browse over Sando, just about 22%, 23% of the result from Sando. So it's not overwhelming. You're talking about 100%, just 23%. So Sanders still got miles to go. In fact, all of the counties in the southeast, Grand Judah is like what 22%. River G is small. It has gone for the 2%. So it depends on how these results are tallied. There are processes where these results come from the polling station to election magistrate. The election magistrate has a transfer sheet that you sit and put all these results on. That's what you transmit to the data center along with the tally sheet. You scan it, okay? And people had to take manually read these things and verify with what is in the system. And they say, yeah, this is verified, check. And they pass it to the next person. It goes through so many hands. It's not just the way out those who are some of these views are outside of perspective because you never been at a data center, you never sat behind computer, you never stood in over somebody and said, no, check that number, you enter there. I'm having this other title, check that one. You know, you never done that. So I think we should be careful how we say these things because some of us have been at the other end and have seen how this done. It's a tedious and because one, the board of commissioners announced this, it's out there. It's difficult now to retract it. So those the technicians are sitting there, they have to be very careful. But for me, here what I will say. When Councillor Gonglo made his statement, he said he was very deliberate. He says in his election, he put out a strong message. He put out a 10-point count that he believed would make Liberia better. He said, clearly from this election, it shows that Liberian voters have opted to choose between the former ruling party and the current ruling party. Since even if he comes there, he thought, looking at the number, he will not be, if there is a runner election, he will not be in a runner election. That's why he made a concession, which I thought was a prudent and courageous thing to do because Councillor Gonglo is a man of courage. He has always taken decisions, even almost at the perils of his life. He always done that. He looked at it, some people say it was 6%. He was very courageous to come up and say, he said, I'm not going to keep the nation in suspense. I will say as I know it. And that's exactly what he did. But again, he went one step further. He called on those who are, going to be maybe in the top tier should respect the rule of law, should pursue whatever electoral grievances they have to the Supreme Court, through the court system. And that's one of the things he fought for through his life. So this whole grandstanding about going to SKD, look, Joe Wiley told me in 1998, September, when he entered Monrovia with Roosevelt Johnson, I was one of the mediators from the Human Rights Committee that went to meet him. When I met Joe Wiley, he said, Gonglo, when two polls develop, two unlike polls develop, it's not a matter of time will clash. If you go to NEC or SKD to say, well, you got a right to be there, CDC people when they too go and say we have the right to be here. Joe Wilson, it's only a matter of time there will be violence at SKD tomorrow morning. And I know you guys are not afraid of violence because you got kill each other in Foya. You kill someone in Vanegre, in Nima. You kill people. Yeah. You don't know? People have been dying. Yes. This is what, because this.
So you have proof that Unity Party kill people?
I said these people, Unity Party and CDC.
Really?
Yeah. Those are the two violent political parties.
But I have a question about the election counting process.
Those are the two political parties that will call them 12-year rules and 6-year rules.
All right. Quickly, Victor, ask your question to the expert.
Yes, I just wanted to ask our professed election expert here. You tell me, Mr. Gonglo, sequentially, are you going to tell me that the votes from Sando Kando will be much, much readily available than the vote from Kidman? Or that the vote from Kidman came and they set them aside and decided to go to Sando Kando and count the votes?
Great question.
When you're telling me...
So, Mr. Nangwe, here how it works. Yeah. These things are transmitted either like scanning and emailing it out. Sometimes, I'm sure with improvement in technology, I'm sure they probably have now a NEC or a database system probably where these things are entered through at the county level. I don't know how it's done now, okay? I worked for NEC several years ago, even though I've done election mission in East Timor and Kenya, So I took different election processes internationally. So I've been at at that point. But yes, what I know. These things, when it's a human process. These things, it's not like they bring physical ballot boxes and put in. No. So you can. I will give typical example in my village, Glaze-Opie. As of election was on Tuesday. As of Wednesday, midday, they have not counted. Only 900 persons have voted there.
No, I think you missed getting my question.
I don't want to prolong the show any longer.
You missed getting my question because I think I'm talking geographically.
Right,
is it going to be easier?
How does this benefit any
distance does not matter. With technology, distance does not matter.
No, the Southeast is a backward place. Nobody want to go to the country. That's the
Joe, I want you
stereotype.
to speak to this, and then we can close.
With technology, distance does not matter.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know how this will advantage any Kennedy, but let's go on.
So it's quite unfortunate that Mr. Gelabo continues to throw wild allegations that he cannot substantiate. And I think we should use these platforms to educate and inform our people and not misinform them, right? The police, quote unquote, is still investigating situations in Lofa County, right? And no one has been held accountable yet. Also, we saw that the Sunday before the elections, we saw the CDC and ACOB were engaged into brutal, violence and mayhem, along the Somalia draft. So it is unfortunate that you want to label the Unity Party as a violent party. We are a people, we are a peace-loving and law-abiding political institution, well organized and well grounded. So yes, there are a few things I want to make clear. Mr. Kerebo, you may have worked with the Elections Commission in Kenya or East Timor, that's fine. But I'm also proud of my record as a young, active university student in Liberia. I worked as a civic and voter educator for the National Elections Commission. And as a student leader at the University of Liberia Student Union, I was an independent observer at the 2011 elections. So I managed to go into the room. I saw how these tabulations can be counted. So we all come with somehow sort of experience with these processes. We're not speaking out of the blue. So what is happening is that NEC, the way NEC is proceeding, NEC is also creating suspicion on herself, right? So now we all know very well, and I'm glad that those of us that know the country very well, that is the reason why we are asking these hard questions. Why is it that you are quick to announce 23% of the results from Sano County, but you cannot announce a single result from Grand Cape May County? Because we know the terrain, we understand the logistical considerations that are happening. So if you are saying technology is a factor that accelerates the announcement of elections from Sano, then it should even be much more faster to announce results from Cape May and other places. So something is not adding up. It just doesn't make sense, Mr. Gonglo. It just doesn't make sense. And NEC is creating rooms for suspicion, for doubt. And these are political processes. When you try to create doubt on data integrity, then you create a doubt on the entire electoral process. And this is against such backdrop that the United Party will not sit out there and allow Mobile Molu and Helex to make their way to the stadium where NEC is using as a final data place. And we sit back and say, okay, yeah, you guys go ahead, we got our tally sheet. True. You understand what is data integrity. Data integrity is not something where, okay, I got my tally sheet in my hand. But the process of the tally sheet leaving from the voting precincts to NEC headquarters to the magistrate and so forth, too many things can happen along the lines. So that is the reason why we are very careful. That is the reason why we are sober in this process, and we will not give the CDC a macro inch to manipulate in the process. No numbers can be microwaved. We know what is unfolding. We know the result. We know. Listen, Sano County just 2% of the votes. It's just 2% of the votes.
So Joe, you say you know the result. Tell us what's the result? Who wins?
If I announce result to you, the next thing you'll tell me I'm not an official person to announce results. So what do you want?
All right.
Tell us the result.
Thank you, guys. I don't think
to get talent share, anything can happen.
Right.
It's a very serious matter. It means the talent in your hand is totally useless because you believe something can happen in between.
Thank you.
No, how will you work with election and you questioning data integrity?
Thank you.
But your talent share,
what logic are you making?
Stay happy is useless.
Thank you.
Do you know data integrity is data moving from one place and ending to another place?
But
How do you think people manipulate election? Listen to me. The last time people manipulated election results, that was in 1985, and we saw Labrador descended into more than 23 years of chaos. We don't want that to happen. I'm here. I am a victim of that process. I do not want the future of my children to be jeopardized.
I don't want to go there. People use that quite often, but we still can debate the correlation between the Civil War and the 85 elections. Do they have any link? Maybe not.
They do. There's a strong correlation.
No, that's not true. That's not what Charles didn't say.
No, right. It's debatable. Right. That's what I'm saying. It's debatable. For instance,
but who started the war? Johnson started the war, so Johnson is very important in that debate.
So even the 85 invasion was not because of
it was pre-planned. Yeah, it was pre-planned.
Right, because it happened less than a month after the election. So let's leave that. And
listen, Charles Sutherland has spearheaded the war
on that. So we can probably inform the people. You cannot discuss the causation of the Liberian Civil War and say the 1985 rigging of the elections rigging does not play a factor in that. Come on.
Now you are
there's so many factors. It's not just one instance. You have a 1979 arrest riot. You have a 1979 arrest riot. Come on, Dennis.
Now you're trying to.
You know the historical antecedents. We don't want to dive into that. That is not the focus of the discussion today. Let's stick to election.
I'm telling you, you are saying this has a direct. So I say it made none. That's debatable. That's what I'm telling you. So it's something.
I said it has a relationship. It's part of the cause.
Let's close the show, please, guys. It's getting ready late.
Right. Let's close. But what I want to end with is still what I really didn't get is how announcing sign-up before Cape Mount affect data integrity, who it benefits. I didn't get that. I just want to end.
I know it's already in somebody's pocket and they just pull it out, Dennis. Let's make that simple for you.
So what do you want? You wanted to just announce one side of the country that favors Joseph Boyka so he can have an overwhelming lead, an insurmountable lead that we can recover from?
Now you get to the point, Elvis.
So that's how you want it. That's how you want to announce it. That's how you want to announce it.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow at 3, we will be here to talk about data integrity. The data integrity. I have assembled some data scientists so we can talk about the integrity of the NEC elections data. Tomorrow at 3, you don't want to miss that. Only on Focus on Liberia, and let's talk data science. Again, thank you so much for your time. We have exceeded the time allotted, but I appreciate your time. I want to thank our viewers for always watching Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Whether you believe the NEC is doing poorly or very well, whether you believe Boyka is going to win, CDC, George Weah is going to win, or Appleton, whatever you believe, we are all Liberians, man. And let's do our very best to make our country the glorious land of liberty. Have a good night.
Liberia is our